एक्सपेस्टाशर धन्यवाद। शायद मुझसे अधिक से अधिक लोग हिंदी सुनना पसंद करते हैं, हाँ या ना? शुभ अपराह्न, इसका भी कोई जवाब नहीं आया। भाई नमस्कार। एक अच्छा मौका होता है साल में एक बार जब सारे आइसक्रीम इंडस्ट्री से रिलेटेड लोग एक ही जगह पर आकर मिलते हैं, बैठते हैं, बात करते हैं, कुछ अपनी कहते हैं, कुछ दूसरों की सुनते हैं। समस्याएं होती हैं, समस्याओं का निवारण और निराकरण शायद यहाँ संभव है भी। और इन्हीं सब चीज़ों को देखते हुए ये एक अच्छा सेशन होता है कि जिसके अंदर जितने भी हमारी मशीन सप्लायर्स हैं, जो टेक्नोलॉजी सप्लायर्स हैं, वो आकर अपना तजुर्बा, अपना अनुभव हमारे साथ शेयर करें। और हमें एक मौका मिलता है ये बात पूछने का। हम औरों से भी पूछ सकते हैं, जब ये लोग सामने होते हैं तो इनसे पूछ भी सकते हैं कि ऐसी क्या चीज़ें हैं जो विदेशों में होती हैं, जो इनकी टेक्नोलॉजी में होती हैं और हम उनका उपयोग पूरी तरीके से नहीं कर पा रहे हैं। और इसी चीज़ को मैं आगे रखते हुए इस पैनल डिस्कशन के अंदर जो परिचय अभी तक दिया गया है, मिस्टर आइवन लुंड जो हैं वो कितने समय से आइसक्रीम इंडस्ट्री में हैं वो तो ये खुद ही अच्छा बता सकते हैं। लेकिन मैं जानता हूँ कि जब से मैंने आइसक्रीम इंडस्ट्री के लिए काम करना शुरू किया है, मैंने आइवन को देखा है एक या अलग रूप में। वन वे और अदर आई हैव बीन सीइंग आइवन, वेदर फ्रॉम वन कंपनी और अदर, you are well associated with ice cream. Yeah? Ivan now has been working with Tetra Pak, and he operates from Singapore, and maybe I think he is traveling to all Southeast Asia or other part also. Southeast Asia is yours, yeah? Or South Asia? Yeah, fine. So here I welcome Ivan to discuss something on different technologies. Because in this panel, what we are going to discuss, ice cream is a dream. Ice cream is, do we really consider ice cream as a dream product or something which is now dream? It is no more a dream. आइस क्रीम एक ऐसी चीज़ हो गई है जिसको खाना, जिसको बनाना तो शायद हर एक को हर एक स्तर पर आता है, खाना सबको आता है, लेकिन अब उसका जब इंडस्ट्रियलाइजेशन होता है, जब हम डिफरेंट लेवल पे लेके जाते हैं, तब आइसक्रीम का क्या रूप रहना चाहिए, कैसा रहना चाहिए, उसके लिए। द पर्सन नेक्स्ट टू हिम इज एंडर्स. Anders come from Denmark, and I have been told that he comes from, as an industrial advisor. He has a very vast knowledge of gram equipment and other ice cream equipments as well. And I believe, is the first visit to India, or you have been to India many times? You have come to India many times, yeah? How many times you have been to here in India?
I've been to India. I think the first time I came to India was in 91, so probably 30, 40 times I've been to India.
Wow, that's okay, 30, 40 times India. And when I see Mr. Bono, the person who comes from Italy, and the person who started with, his association with Mark Freezer. Mark used to be very old, small machines. I remember I started my career with Mark long back when Mark was part of Alfalawal. And I remember Mark series as well. Now, I welcome all my foreign delegates. At the same time, it's an opportunity to welcome Mr. Rastogi, who comes from Levers. Levers people, when they entered an ice cream plant, I don't know how many of you or us will agree कि इंडिया में पहले यूनिलीवर को किसी और तरीके से जाना जाता था, कभी ये नहीं सोचा गया कि यूनिलीवर एक आइसक्रीम की भी कंपनी है। रस्तोगी जी, आपका क्या ख्याल?
Definitely, HOL is a big ice cream company, and we have a huge business in India as well. And in fact, if you see, Unilever as a company is very strong in ice cream. So not only in India, but abroad. So it's a very good ice cream company, I must say.
Yeah, true. I mean, yes, I remember when first plant, when we talked something of Brook Bond Lipton India, and it was Nasik and Sinhar, and then Lever's Total. Well, I welcome all the delegates. And from here, I will see that, okay, we start a very healthy, constructive, and creative discussion on ice cream. My first question, it will go to Ivan Lund. Ivan, when we talk something on ice cream, and we have been talking right from 80 liters per hour ice cream freezer to maybe 1,000 or 2,000 liters per hour? Yeah? But when we see at manufacturing level, I mean, if any small-time ice cream manufacturer is sitting here, perhaps he will definitely second my thought, that we find it is very difficult to purchase a small machine which can produce the same quality of product, which all big machine in generally inexpensive range, or I don't want to use the word cheap range, but these are damn expensive machines. So what do you think, all small timers, what should they do to buy a good, whether it's a Tetra Pak machine or it's a gram machine or it's a other Techno Ice machine? But is it true that these machines are very expensive?
Of course, I can definitely tell you those machines are not very expensive. Maybe if we just try to look a little bit back on the Indian ice cream industry, I would say over the last 5-10 years, we have been through a fantastic journey. This has been a journey where the industry has been growing by double-digit figures. And of course this means, and I'm sure I can say for all of us, this means that we have been having a good supply of equipment. In a growth phase like that, you can say the manufacturers, the most important thing is to get the machinery that can make and introduce the new products. If I should look ahead, I am 100% sure this development is going to continue. The growth in India is going to continue. It's going to be double-digit for the next number of years. But I'm also sure that the requirements to us as a supplier will be not only to supply the equipment to bring the products. We will have to be sure that the machinery is running efficiently, that there's a high level of automation. There are more requirements of food safety, etc. And we have to be able to fulfill those requirements. Of course, in relation to that, we see the ice cream industry, you can say the whole business is developing a lot. It's like a pyramid where there are a few top players and a lot of smaller players. And of course, many of those smaller players will be potential for smaller freezers. And I can say for sure we are looking seriously into areas like that. And of course, this is the kind of equipment that we have to make available locally to those manufacturers, supply it to them and grow with them.
Oh, okay. So, well, okay. So it means if capacity utilization is full, then this even small capacity machines also viable.
Well, of course, the small capacity machinery is viable. You can say we see the ice cream business. There will be big players, there will be medium-sized players, there will be small players, there will be people focusing on mass products, there will be people focusing on premium products. And obviously, if your capacity need is not extremely high, then of course a smaller freezer can do a reliable job. Of course, we see freezer developments, you can say, from being manual. Even the small freezers today will be PLC controlled and give you an accurate and reliable output.
Okay, fine. Now, Anders, my question to you. For all imported machines, again, it's a belief that customer services, right time reaching to the customer on customer services with service and spares, it's an expensive affair? Yes?
Maybe if I could just complete a little on Ivan's on freezers. First of all, I think freezers is probably the most important part of the equipment, as we all want to provide the consumer with the best, say, mouthfeel and taste experience. So I think talking about freezers as an expensive must be seen in relation to the importance. And to add to Ivan's on the small capacity on freezers, what we also is trying to do here is to partner up with local Indian companies like ISF, our representative here in India. And actually we have made our freezers, on smaller size freezers, available in India as a licensed product with ISF. So it's actually made in India on local Indian conditions, also to meet a price level.
Correct, right. So my question is on service and spares.
And on service and spares, sorry, to address your specific question. We are actually trying to do the same, recognizing that being a global company must be done by being local. So we can have success on the global world market, but we need to be able to be, say, attractive and competitive on also the local markets. And in India, we are partnering up with a local Indian company, and we have actually, in addition to this, to make sure that there are the right competences available.
Yeah.
We have actually employed our own service technicians. So we have right now in India, we are having 4 service technicians employed by Graham Equipment. And they are trained in our main facility in Denmark to get the right competences. But they are living and working out of India. So we are actually able to, say, meet the market demands also on cost. So this is how we try to, on the service side. On the spare parts side, we are actually having local stocks of spares in India to make the parts as readily available as possible. Because of course, this is one of the crucial things in the ice cream industry, that you need to meet the season. If you don't meet the season, you will not have success in your business. So it's very crucial that it's available on the time and on also the local conditions in terms of costs.
So, but again, price, as far as price are concerned, how competitive are all the imported equipment services?
I think on price, we are trying to meet also on spare parts as we do on the service hours. We are trying to meet the local market conditions because we know this is a vital part of being successful in India on the long term.
Yeah.
Because one thing is to sell the equipment one time. That's not the biggest trick maybe.
Okay.
But to the second and third part. And one of the success parameters is that we can maintain the equipment to the operational level as expected by the customers.
Okay.
So we are trying to meet on also our pricing that we meet this on local conditions. Again, by partnering up with a local Indian company.
Yeah, fine, thank you. Now, Bono, my question to you. When we talk something on techno-ice side and how you look at Indian market, prospects in Indian market for a complete ice cream plant which comes from Italy. And the things which are made here in India, only critical components are supplied from Italy.
Well, I must say that we have been away from the Indian market for quite a bit of time. So we came back only recently, about 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And the reason for this is that, of course, the globe is big and you have to be everywhere and there is a time for every country. And I believe that now India is one of the biggest opportunity for the ice cream equipment manufacturers. If I look at the statistics, which of course are not very accurate, sometimes people say half liter per year per person, sometimes 1 liter, but even though it's much, much less than what is consumed in other countries, for example, in Europe or in America with 20 liters, or in Denmark with almost 10 liters, Italy with 8 liters. So it means that there is a very big potential market in front of us. This is why recently we employed a regional manager, and this is why we have, since quite a bit of time now, 2 engineers, which are, of course, available not only for India, but also for the Asian area. So in the next future, we are going to concentrate more and more in the Indian market. I would like to point out one thing. In India, there are, of course, some very big manufacturers, but there are also a big number of medium size, and we are receiving more and more inquiries from newcomers, from dairies willing to start ice cream production, and also from, let's say, small manufacturers willing to step up. So traditionally, Techno-Ice has been always concentrated in small, medium, and medium big, but not very big like our colleagues of Graham and Tetra. So we feel very comfortable in India, and I'm quite positive about our possibilities here. Of course, as they say, it is not only important to sell the machines, it is also very important to service. This is why we have 2 engineers, to have spares, in order to be very close to the customer when there is any problem, and machines may have problems, of course.
So thank you once again. Best wishes since you are coming back to India after a long time. My question to Rastogi ji will be, since you are a person who has been using the different, whether it's a Tetra Pak lines, or it's a gram lines, other lines. Number one, what is your experience with these machines?
Okay, so first of all, I'll take a step back and say that, of course, we have been working with Gram, we have been working with Tetra Pak, and Big Drum is not here. We have been working with them, not only in HUL, but also across Unilever. Our experience with these equipments is quite good. I must say that because, Mr. Ivan was mentioning in the starting that quality comes at a cost. And it is rightly so, because whatever equipments we have across our factories are doing pretty well. The only challenge which we face across Unilever and more so in India HUL is because the cost of the equipment is extremely high, and primarily the reason is because the manufacturing is not local. So what happens is, and most of us are aware that if you import an equipment, you have to incur almost 30% import duty, which actually makes it very unaffordable from a cost perspective. And given the fact that ice cream industry is a growing industry, so both HUL is growing, Vadilal is growing, and all of the companies are growing, it makes sense for us to have affordable equipments in the factories, so as to make sure that we build on margins, we build on, and we give competitive pricing in the market as well to cater to the growing industry. So all in all, I must say that the experience has been great. We are not facing any major issues, etc. But the real challenge lies in how can we make it more affordable from a cost point of view, not only for us, but also for the competition within the country.
So if I just take one thing from this comment, the Lever being a big company, other names, whatever you say, they are again big brands, national brands. What's about if it's small company, maybe producing around 2,000 liter a day ice cream, or say 3,000 liter a day ice cream?
Can you repeat a question, please?
3,000 liter per day ice cream.
3,000 liters,
you say small or...
Correct. So I must say that's a challenge because whatever equipments we have from the big suppliers, they are very, in terms of the capacity is quite high. And when you talk about local, low-cost manufacturers, small manufacturers, I think it will become difficult for them to have these equipments in the factories to basically run them, because the equipment size is high, the cost is high, and if you have to make only 3,000 liters or 4,000 liters in a year, it makes very difficult from a cost point of view for people to let's say run the business in the market. And that's the reason why, and not only that, in fact, one of the other reasons which also comes to the fore, and you asked both Ivan and Anders in this is the service part of it. So what happens is, because we buy such high-cost equipments, and even the low-cost manufacturers, what happens is the cost of spares, the cost of servicing, etc. is also very high. So that makes it difficult for not only for low-cost manufacturers, but also the higher manufacturers to survive in the market. So I think that's something which we need to ponder upon and see how can we make it happen in the near future.
Fine. Well, Ivan, once again, I come back to you. What you think when we talk India, small-scale ice cream manufacturers, small, they are relatively, say, 5,000 liter a day ice cream producer, where you feel that all these big companies' machines are fitting to the bill?
Well, of course, as mentioned, you can say there are a number of different sizes of manufacturers, and yes, there is definitely a good growth potential for the smaller scale manufacturers. And when we talk about, let's say, potential local manufacturing and very strong support to those players, this is very, very much an area that we are looking into, and is specifically related to those small scale manufacturers. Of course, I would still say in a lot of the discussions here, and I think it's very, very important, we have a terminology, we say total cost of ownership, meaning for you as a manufacturer, what is the total cost of your manufacturing of those products? And of course, the equipment itself has an impact, and it can have a big impact. But of course, you also need to look at the quality, the operational efficiency. You need to look at the support that will keep your machinery running, so that you really do the total costing. What is the benefits for me? And you can say, what can the supplier secure me as my total cost of ownership for those products? This is very, very important that this is being considered. As I say, during a growth phase, yes, when the market is crying and taking all the products, it's relatively easy to be a manufacturer. But when the competition is getting tougher, etc., your production, your operation needs to be efficient. So your total cost of ownership is becoming a very, very important factor.
Okay. And that's what is your opinion on this?
I think it's a very vital subject, actually.
Yep.
And we're trying to address this in more ways. One way is we have traditional built equipment to specifications.
Yep.
Now we have actually started a second product line, which is what we call equipment by specifications. Meaning we have actually predefined a lot of equipment, also considering on the component level what is available where. So something may be available in Europe, but it may be hard to get in, for example, India. This is now considered in this product portfolio. And that also, at the end, makes the equipment more affordable. And also, as Ivan has mentioned, the total cost of ownership. Secondly, we have taken this step with our local partner here in India to actually have him build some equipment under license from us. So this is, again, lowering the initial capital cost. But we are trying to maintain a certain standard of the equipment. And I think in particularly on the hygienic. Because I think this is a vital interest of the whole industry. We don't want to see, say, these food scandals that eventually will affect us all. So this is maybe the two most important ways that we try to address this and to make, say, our technology more affordable.
Bono, from your side, some add-on in Indian conditions to make plant economical, which can be well appreciated, accepted, and acknowledged here in India.
Well, of course, equipment have to be reliable, and we have to provide a good service locally. And it is important for the manufacturer to know at the end of the day what are his costs in terms of manufacturing. But coming back to your question of whether there is a possibility for plants, let's say, producing 3,000 liters of ice cream a day in India. I believe that local plants have good chances versus the big industries, because local plants have lower cost of distribution. And we know that, I mean, in India still, distribution is a drawback in the market. So, and this is not only in India, but also in other countries. And as far as I know, I think that Unilever, for example, is going back, let's say, from very, very big industries to smaller units which are less expensive at the beginning, but also less expensive in the management, and they are more manageable. So, for sure, there is a market for small machines and big machines and very big machines. And as I say, we feel very comfortable for the future market here in India. I believe there will be more and more medium-sized people coming up, offering a good product to the local customers, without entering into a very big variety of products, but with some basic products. If a customer is willing to do bulks and cups and cones, he doesn't need such a big investment. A big investment comes when you start to make extruded products, or when you want to make ice cream sticks and so on and so forth. And then, of course, the big guys have something to say about it.
रस्तोगी जी, आपकी तरफ से कुछ और जो कि इंडस्ट्री के लिए, छोटी इंडस्ट्री के लिए या मध्यम साइज की जो हैं, मीडियम साइज की, उनके लिए challenges हैं.
I think one of the things which I was thinking when I came to know that I'll attend this seminar is basically, if you see for small players, and we have spoken about the quality of the ice cream has to be good so that the taste profile matches with the consumer. For that, we'll have to go buy good quality machines, which are costly, and therefore that acts as an entry barrier for the local players. One of the things which I was wondering if that is possible from most of our manufacturers for the local players is how can we cut the entry barrier for them by let's say, can we give machines on rental? For example, can we have big suppliers like Gram, Tetra Pak, Technoise giving machines on rental or on, let's say, 3-year, 4-year lease contracts, so that the cost of capex for local players to entry into the market becomes very less. They're able to establish themselves with a good quality product, and then maybe at a later stage you have a big market coming up for selling your equipment. So probably that was one thought which I was having for the small players. The other thing is probably I think there's also a need to look at how can we improve the efficiencies from an end-to-end manufacturing perspective within the factory. So, for example, today if you see when we make a mix in the processing line, it takes around 2 hours to make a mix, then it takes around 8 hours to do aging, then it takes around 24 hours to do hardening in the cold room. Now, all of this actually requires a lot of capacities to be built in the factories. And therefore, is there a need to relook into this and build equipment which can actually make ice cream much faster so that we have to build less hardware in the factories, more capacity, and therefore lesser cost. So these are the two thoughts which I had, wherein one is, can we lower the entry barrier by giving machines on rental or a similar sort of arrangement? Or maybe a second thing is, how can we maximize our asset efficiencies within the factories so that we can get more out of less and in less time, so that we can have lesser capex and higher capacities in the plant.
Okay, thank you all. Now is an open session. अगर आप में से किसी को कोई क्वेश्चन पूछना है कंपनी के बारे में, टेक्नोलॉजी के बारे में, challenges ahead, please free to ask. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you all. Thank you very much.
We'll now be presenting the mementos to these panelists. So I request Mr. Girish Pai to please come over and give the memento to Mr. Evin Lund. Can we have an applause, please? Large applause. Thank you. I now call upon Mr. Balaraju ji, please, to come over and give the memento to Mr. Anders. Yeah, Mr. Narsimhan to please come over and give the memento to Mr. Akshay. And can I ask Mr. Dwarkanathan to please come over and give the memento to Mr. Sergio. And last but not the least, I take the opportunity to present the memento to the chairman of the session, Mr. Kaushlesh. Thank you, friends. With this, we end the session number 3. So I will now request the people to get on the shop floor. Please come. Yeah. Thank you very much, all of you.
Thank you.
It was an interesting session. Yeah. Now we begin with session number 4, and that's the last of the sessions. This is GST, the burning issue that we have.